Hello everyone. So in today's class we are going to start it with the module 3, and the module 3 is nothing but the Unix process and the process control. So we are having the two chapters, one is Unix process and the Unix process control. Now we are going to start it with the first chapter, that is nothing but the Unix process. So these are the contents we are going to cover in the first chapter, that is the introduction, how the Unix operating system is going to support for the process. So what are the topics we are going to cover under this introduction? Next, main function. We know that the C programming is going to includes the main function, right? So the main function, how the main function is going to work. So what are the parameter we are going to pass for the main function? So all that thing we are going to study under main function. Next, process termination. So the process is going to be terminate either the normally or abnormally. So how it is going to terminate, that with the different function we are going to study. Next, command line. So how the input for the given function or input for the given program is given through the command line. So how the Unix is going to support for the command line argument. Next, environment list. So as the name says that the Unix is having the predefined variables. That variable we are going to call it as an environment variables. So this environment variable, how to access that variable and how to include in our program. So that is what we are going to study in the environment list or a variable. Next, memory layout. So when you are going to write a program, so what is the memory, how the memory is going to be allocated, so for the program. So whether it is going to allocated in a stack or whether it is going to allocated in a heap. So all that thing, how the memory will be allocated for the function, how the memory will be allocated for the variables. So that is how we are going to study the memory layout. Now, shared library. So in the shared library, so what are the inbuilt function the C programming is going to support in the Unix operating system, how the process is going to share the libraries. So next we are going to study the four important functions in this chapter. Under this chapter, set jump function and the log jump function. So usually the program sequence is going to run sequentially, right? So the program is going to run sequentially, one after the another. So when you are going to give the jump instruction, so that is in the C program you are going to use the goto function, right? So how it is going to work with the set jump and the long jump. So next, get R limits. So we know that we are having the plenty of resources, right? So system resources will be there. So how you are going to get that resources? So how you are going to modify by using the set R limits. So next, after that, how the Unix operating system kernel is going to support the process, how it is going to manage the process. So all these contents we are going to study under this chapter, that is Unix process. Now we are going to start with the first topic, that is nothing but the main function. Let us see how this main function is going to work. So what are the parameter it is going to takes, all that thing we are going to cover in the first topic, that is main function. Yes. We will start with the first topic, that is main function. So we know that when we have to make use of the main function. Suppose for example you consider the simple program, that is nothing but the C program, include stdio.h. Then after that we are going to give the statement, that is nothing but void main you are going to use. Then after that you are going to write the any statement, right? That is printf hello, right? So this is how you are going to write the main function, right? So when you are going to run this program, this is a simple C program that displays the allow information. So when you are going to run this program, what happens? So it is going to be given to the compiler, right? So the compiler is going to execute line by line and it is going to find any error is there. So if not, if no syntax error is find, and you can run this program. So the output you are going to get is the printf, and then the output you are going to get is hello, right? So hello. This is what the information you are going to get, right? So when the compiler is going to take this program, so how it will comes to know that this is the starting and this is the ending of the program? That is by making use of the void main. So when the compiler is going to fetch the line that is void main, so indicate that it is a starting of the program. What it is? It is a starting of the program. So the main will be used to begin the program execution. The compiler is going to search for the main, and if it is fine, and it is going to start executing from there, right? So this is how the compiler is going to run this program, right? So now for this main function, we are going to take the arguments. The main is also going to take the argument. So it is going to take the two important argument. One is argc and the another one is args. So first one, we can specify any return type, that is integer, void. So when you are going to specify void, it is not going to return any value. Now when you are going to specify integer, it is going to return value. Now int main is the what? It is a main is the function, and it is going to two parameter. One is argc and another one is args. So what is this argc? Argc is nothing but it is going to take the number of argument, that is number of argument the user is passed while running this program. So while running this program, if he is going to make use of argc and the args, so he is going to give the input through the command line argument. Now number of argument is nothing but argc. Now argument s is nothing but what? It is a pointer. What it is? It is a pointer to the argument list. Argument list. So this is the pointer to the argument list. So these are the two argument the main function is going to take. Now before that, I am going to give the simple example, and then we will illustrate what is argc and the args. See, I am going to modify the same function. Instead of this, I am going to use the int main. I am going to write this program here. I am going to write the program here, then it will be visible. Include stdio.h. Then after that, I am going to make use of main function. Within that, I am going to specify the two argument argc, comma, character star, that is argument. Then after that, I am going to write the body of the main function. Now I am going to write the body of the any function, that is main function. You can write anything here. Then after that, I am going to close this program. Now while running this program, in the command line argument, I am going to give the file name. That is the file name I am going to give. Suppose I store this file with the student.c. Then I am going to pass the argument. After that, I am going to pass the args, that is the argument, the name of the student. I am going to take it as a Ramya, and then after that, I am going to specify the id. So what I am doing, I am passing I am calling the function, that is the program name student.c. I am running this program. So while running I am passing the parameter, right? So I am passing the argument to this main function. So how many parameter? The first parameter it is going to take is Ramya, and the second one it is going to take it as a IST19. So this is the two argument I passed, right? So now when you are going to print this program, see here within the main body I am going to write the printf statement. I am going to write printf %d and then the argc. So what it is going to display? So argc is going to gives what number of arguments, right? So how many argument you are passed here? 2 argument. So for which function? Student.c. So the number of the argument it is going to give the not the 2, it is going to give the 3, including the name of the file. So that is going to be 3. Understood? So next one we will go for the printf statement. I am going to display that the %s, the name, that is I am going to display it as a name, and then the name is equal to %s. I am going to give the argc of 1. So argc of 1. So what is indicate? Name is equal to %s, args of 1. So indicate that you are displaying the whatever the content is there in the args of 1. So what is args? It is going to give the pointer to the argument list, right? So now this is the first argument, that is 0, and the 1 and then the 2, right? So now it is going to display the output, that is name is equal to Ramya. So this is the output you are going to get, right? So this is how argc and the args is going to work. So instead of giving the input in the mentioning by using the scanf statement, we are going to read the input through the command line, and by using this command line we are going to fetch the args and the args information. So this is the simple program how the main function is going to work with the parameters. Now how this compiler is going to fetch this line? So before running this program, so what the kernel is going to do? So the kernel, see here with the simple diagram I explained here, so how the main function is going to be called. See here the kernel is know that it is nothing but the core of the Unix operating system. So now the kernel is going to, before executing the main function, so when the user is going to give the compile, so when the user is going to run this program, so what happens internally? The kernel is going to call the one important function, that is execute function, execute function. So when the kernel is going to execute this function, so before the main function one more important routine it is going to call, that we are going to call it as a startup routine. So before the main function the kernel is going to call the startup routine. So what it contain? The startup routine, it contain all the information, and it is going to hold the starting address of what? The starting address of the program. So what it contain? The starting address of the program. Now the startup routine, it is going to fetch the kernel is going to fetch the startup address of the program. Then after that it is going to call the main function. The control will goes to where? The control will comes to the main function here. Now it is going to execute the program. Now after executing the program, this program is going to be end, right? So when it is going to end, when it should return some value, right? See here I am not written any value. See here the main is what? It is a function. So each and every function should return a value, right? But here I am not returning any value, right? So what you have to do? You have to return some value. either by using the return statement or by using the exit function. So you can use the exit function or return statement. See here, return 0. So 0 indicate that it is a successful. So if it is returning the non-zero value, then it is there is a problem. So indicate that there is a problem. So since it is returning the 0 values, so what happens? The control will go back to the main function. The main is going to execute the exit or return statement. You can use either exit or return statement. So if it is returns the value 0 or any value, it will given back to the startup routine, and that information given to the kernel. Now the kernel is going to display the failure messages if it is failure. If it is successful, the control will be given to the some other program for the execution. So this is how internally the kernel is going to execute the main function. Understood? So this is what, if you specify the integer, you should return a values, right? So you should return the values to the operating system. The main function is going to return a values to the main kernel, that is nothing but the operating system. So the integer either going to takes the return statement or exit function. So this is what the first topic, that is about the main function. So let us start with the second topic. Let us start with the second topic in the module 3, that is process termination. So as the name says that we are going to terminate or we are going to end the process. So when it is going to create, as suppose for example, if you are going to write any program, like I am going to write the program with the simple program hash include stdio.h, then I am going to write the int main, and then I am going to write with the printf statement. Just a simple program I took, that's it. Allow mitm. So then after that I am going to write the return statement, return 0. See here, I took the simple program, that is hash include stdio.h. This program is going to display allow mitm as an output, right? So when this program is going to run, so what internally the kernel is going to do, the kernel, suppose for example, consider the kernel is going to create a process. So what it is going to do, it is create a process. Now this is a process, the program under execution, what we are going to call it as a process. Now the kernel is going to create a process. Now the process P1 is going to take care of the execution of this program, right? So before that, as I said in the previous example, the startup routine it has to make use. Now the process is created, the process is going to execute this program, right? So after execution, this process is going to be end, right? So it is going to end either the normally or abnormally. So the process has to be cancelled. It should end after the execution of this program, right? So how it is going to terminate? So there are given the list of the ways it is going to terminate. See here, it is going to first 4 indicate that it is going to terminate normally. So last 3 indicate that it is going to terminate abnormally. So let us see one by one how the process is going to terminate. First one, return from the main function. See here, the control will comes to here. Now it is going to execute the program, and after executing the program, it is going to fetch the statement return 0. So since it is a return 0, if it is returning some value, that is nothing but integer value, so it is going to return 0 to 255 by default. So if it is 0, indicate it is a success. So if it is other than 0, that is nothing but the non-zero, so then we are going to call it as a unsuccess. So this is what the return statement the main function is going to return. So not only the main function, the user defined function is also going to return some value to the called function, right? So now the main function is going to return the return 0, right? So this indicate that it is a successful. So now the process is going to be terminate successfully, right? So that is nothing but normally it is going to terminate by using the statement return. When it is going to fetch the statement 0, that by using the return 0, now it is going to terminate normally. Second case, see here, the second case is calling a exit function. As I said in the previous, we are going to make use of either return statement or exit function. Now exit function, here two exit function is there. See here the exit, here the third one is underscore exit or underscore with the capital letter E exit. So this will be supported by ISO-C and this will be supported by the POSIX-C. Right. So these are the function which is going to be supported by the C programming. Generally it will going to support the termination of a main function or any function. See here when it is going to fetch the exit function, see here, so instead of return I am going to write the exit. I am going to write the exit of 0. See here, the exit of 0 is going to be make use in the ISO-C. Now what happens, it is going to run the program. Since no error is there, then it is going to fetch the line exit of 0. Since it is a successful, so it is going to return the value 0 and the process is going to terminate normally. So this is what how the process is going to make use the exit function. Now similarly the calling exit, when it is going to support with the which one, POSIX.1. So when it is going to fetch this statement, if it is gives the 0, then it is normal. So suppose for example instead of 0 it is going to return some value, that is 2. So to indicate that it is abnormal. Why? Because the program is going to have some error. See here, you are missed the semicolon or you are included the statement scanf %d and then you are given ampersand a. See here, you are not declared any variable a, but you are reading the input from the user, that is a. So in that cases the program is going to be run unsuccessfully, right? So in that cases the process is going to be terminate abnormally, right? So this is how the program is going to be executed. Now next one, the return from the last thread. See here, what is thread is nothing but, so thread is nothing but the lightweight process. So what is that lightweight process? We know that what is process, right? So what is process? The program under execution, we are going to call it as a process, right? So the process is going to take care of the execution of a program, right? So now suppose for example there will be a large program is there. There will be a large program. In that cases one process is not enough. So what we are going to do, what the kernel is going to do, the kernel is going to create as many process you want. That is called as multi-process. So the multi-process is nothing but the execution of the program more than one process, right? So that is multi-process. Now suppose for example this P1 is going to be a parent and you can create the as many child you want by using the fork command. Now I am going to make use of the threads. See here, thread 1, I am going to use the thread 1, thread 2 and then the thread 3. See here, now the process P1 is a process that is having the thread, right? So 3 thread is there, that we are going to call it as a lightweight process. This is a small unit in the process. So now suppose for example if you consider what is thread, see here it is nothing but the Facebook. If you consider it is a facebook.com or something, anything you can take, it is a facebook.com and it is going to have the profile here and the recent activities here the all your friends recent activities, they are posted with the activities, right? Photos, videos, they are posted here. And then here you are going to create the groups, that is the groups, whatever the groups you are having, that is list out. And here in the right side you are going to have the chat box, is nothing but the facebook.com, right? So I just written the interface, that's it. So now see here, the process is going to be created when you are going to open the facebook.com, right? So the whole thing is going to have the one process, right? So creating a process is consumes more time. So instead of that, what I am going to do, I am going to make use of threads. Internally I am going to make use of threads under the one process, so that makes the execution faster. See here, the facebook.com, so in this one I am going to make this the first profile with the thread 1. I am going to make all this activity with the thread 2. Now I am going to create the group with the thread 3, and this one chat will be considered thread 4. See here, the whole Facebook I divided into the small threads. Each thread is going to responsible for the execution of this small task. See, profile will be taken care by the thread 1. The profile group will be taken care by the thread 3. So now this is how the execution will become faster, right? So now suppose for example your profile picture is not displaying properly, then the whole process is failed. No. So only thread 1 is fails. So this is how the internally how the process is going to create the thread for the execution of an large program, right? So here I took the simple program, so only one thread is enough. But when you take the large application, it requires multiple thread. So that is what the concept of multi-threading, right? So multi-process, multi-threading. So to execute the program concurrently, we requires the multi-threading concepts, right? So now when it is going to return the normally return from the last thread. See here, for the whole this program I am going to say takes the thread 2, only 2 thread it is going to take. The thread 1 is responsible for executing printf statement, thread 2 I am taking for the exit of 0, right? So now I am taking a simple example, you can compare with the large application. Now thread 1 and the thread 2 is going to be executed concurrently, right? So at the end what it says, return from the last thread. So first thread is going to execute, next one the thread 2 is going to execute. When the thread 2 is execute, so it is going to return values to the what? To the kernel. So that indicate that it is a normal exit, that is nothing but the normal process termination. So when all this program is successful, then it is wait for until the last thread to return. Understood? So now suppose for example the program is going to be abnormal, that is the program is going to be executed unsuccessfully. So in that cases how the process is going to terminate. See, this is the simple 3 example they are given how the process is going to terminate abnormally. First one, calling a abort function. See here, so I am going to use this one, I am going to instead of this I am going to make use of abort, that is the function. So when the compiler is going to fetch this one, so it will the control directly comes to the kernel, right? So it is not going to execute the program, the remaining program is not going to be executed. That is nothing but abnormal. So suppose for example this program is going to request for the IO devices. See here, I am going to write instead of this, I am going to make use of the 2 variable int a comma b. I am going to take the input, that is printf statement, printf enter a and b, enter a and b. Now scanf statement. To illustrate the calling abort function, I am taking this example, that's it. So I am reading the 2 variable from the input, from the user input, then I am going to make use of sum is equal to a plus b. Now I am going to print this value, that is print f addition is equal to sum. Addition is equal to percentage d comma sum. Now you can make use of return statement. Return of 0, by default it will be 0 only. See here, I am going to rub everything here, so it will be, see, this is the simple program I took. See here, now this is the program I written, simple program. It is going to take the input from the user, that is A and B, and performing addition operation. So while execute this program, how internally it is going to work? So internally it is going to make use of the startup routine. Then after that the kernel is going to call the startup routine, and it is going to call the make use of main here, startup routine. Now the main function is going to be called. Now the compiler is going to start with the main, then after that it is going to fetch the first line and the second line and third line. When it is going to fetch the third line, so the compiler is going to have the process, right? The kernel is going to create the process, that is process 1. Right, so process 1 is going to create the thread 1, thread 2, like that, right? So this is what the process is going to created by the kernel for the execution of this program. Now process, right? So when the compiler is going to fetch the scanf statement, so what happens? The process control will be given to the what? Given to the input output device driver. Input output device driver. So the control will comes to the request for what? Request for the input device. It will request for the input devices. Why? Because we have to take the input from the user, right? How he is going to give? Through the keyboard, right? Keyboard is what? It is nothing but the input devices. Now through the input devices, the user is going to enter the values of A and B. The control will goes to the input, right? Meantime the P1 will be a what? Whether it is going to execute? No, it will be in the halt state, right? So in that cases, so something is going to happen, right? So in that cases it is going to be abort. This is going to be abort. So that is what the abnormal execution or a termination of the process. So in middle something is happened is nothing but in middle some power is gone. So in that cases the process P1 is going to be aborted. So abnormally. So next one, the receipt of the signal. See here, the one more thing is, so while the control will given to the input device for the taking the input from the user, so in the meantime, so what happens? The process is going to the interrupt with the signal. So what is that signal? Is nothing but the software interrupt. So what is interrupt? Interrupt is nothing but it is going to keep on executing this statement, this program, as in the middle something is happened, something, suppose for example the user is entered the control, what he is enter? The control taskbar. You know, right, what, how to open that control taskbar? So taskbar, right? So he is enter the control taskbar. So what happens? The user is click the escape or a something control button. So when the user is click the escape button or a control button, so what happens? The control will be, this control is going to create a signal. So it is nothing but, suppose for example user enter escape sequence, so while running this program, so in the middle he press the escape. Now in that cases this escape is going to create a what? Create the interrupt. So what is that interrupt? We are going to call it as a signal, that is software interrupt. Now the signal is going to be given to the P1, right? So now the P1 is going to halt the execution of a program. So in that cases also the program is going to be run abnormally, that is calling a receipt of a signal. Understood? So next one, the last thread cancellation request. As I said, this whole program is going to be created with the process, and the process P1 is having internally the threads T1 and the T2 are the threads. So now at the last, first it is executed the first thread. So the first thread is going to execute this many statement. So the last thread, it is going to return the value 0, but in middle, so the thread 2 is going to be cancelled by the process P1. So when it is going to be cancelled, suppose for example thread 2 is taking more time for executing this statement. So in that cases it is going to taking the more resources, system resources. In that cases the process can cancel this thread. When it is going to cancel the last thread, that is last thread cancellation request, the whole complete process is going to be the abnormal only. So this is how the process is going to be terminated. So by using the return from the main, calling the exit, calling the underscore exit, then return from the last thread, this is nothing but the normal execution. Now the last 3 is nothing but the abnormal, that is calling abort function. Next the signal in middle, if it is going to fetch the software interrupt, that is the signal. Then after that the last thread cancellation. So this is the process is going to be terminate normally and abnormally. So let us see how this exit function is going to work with the simple example.